Hey, what's up, Cardfighters? BOTCG here, and we're gonna go over BLANGDMIRE. This is gonna be my stock deck list, or like more of like a standardized list. I am gonna be posting a updated deck list in the future once I've gone through like a couple games of the deck, but this is gonna be what I am gonna be rolling into locals with. And I just wanted to give you guys I wanted to give you guys more or less like standardized / stock lists of these new decks, so you have a frame of reference, just so you don't have to build them all from scratch, kind of like what I did. So if some things look weird, sorry, it's just again, this is stock standard. This isn't I'm not teching it out like I usually do, but we're gonna go over the ride line first. The grade 1 of the ride line, when it's written over the grade 2, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, put all grade 1. Oh no, not top 5, top 3. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put all grade 1 or greater cards into soul from among them, rest on bottom of your deck in any order, and if you put 2 or more cards of soul, you get to draw a card. And then the grade 2 of the line is when you ride BLANGDMIRE, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put all grade 1 or greater cards from among them into your soul, shuffle your deck, and then if you put 2 or more into soul, draw a card. So just the way that BLANGDMIRE soul charges in this deck is like all your soul charges are like tutored soul charges. Like you don't have any like all in archetype soul charging. You don't have any in archetype soul charging that's like randomized soul charging, which is really nice. The main boss unit of the deck, BLANGDMIRE, has auto Vanguard. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, bind two or more up to 4 cards from soul face down. You may draw a card. If you bound 4 or more, your opponent chooses 2 of their rear guards and binds them face down, and this unit gets 5 cancel in that battle for every two face down cards in your bind zone. And then it has the divine skill, auto Vanguard, beginning of guard step of the battle this unit attacked. If your bind zone has 8 or more face down cards, you may have this unit get +1 crit until the end of turn, and then period. If you do, your opponent cannot call or play sentinels from hand until end of turn. That includes the blitz order, so I'm told. And until end of turn, and then until the end of your opponent's next turn, all your opponent's Vanguard until the end of the opponent's next turn, all your opponents and that unit's abilities are nullified, but Persona Ride would still activate. I'm told this also works in regards to Twin Drive, which I'm gonna have to poke one of my few judge friends on that, because if Persona Ride isn't affected, but the Twin Drive icon is effective, I'm just curious if that's like legit or not. If this actually does like hit Twin Drive icon. But yeah, we're gonna get into the core cards of the BLANGDMIRE strategy. Running 3 copies of BLANGDMIRE, 4 copies of Single Strike Shatter Colossus, 4 copies of Steam Rider Zamoog, 4 copies of Evoke Analyst, and then 4 copies of Steam Artist Arwen. Now, I know it's weird that I'm running Arwen at 4. Again, this is more like a stock list, guys, because I know his secondary effect only procs when you use your divine skill. So you can only use that secondary effect once, but it's really strong. It replaces itself, and then basically... Wait, okay. Let me read the whole thing, so let me not butcher this. As back row, auto rear guard, at the end of your turn, if the critical of your Vanguard with BLANGDMIRE in his card name was increased by divine skill ability, cost, retire this unit, draw a card. All your other units with the same card name as this unit was not retired this turn until end of your opponent's next turn. Okay, so yeah, you can't if you want to get the secondary red text effect, you can't stack this ability. Okay, and then was not retired this turn until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your opponent gets, at the beginning of ride phase, you choose a card from your hand, you may discard it. If you do not discard a card, you cannot ride or stride until the end of turn. So basically this lets you cycle itself, and then puts another annoying hit counter on top of the divine skill, basically erasing your opponent's Vanguard's abilities. You also have that added factor of like you have to discard to ride, which, you know, they're obviously gonna discard if they can ride. They're gonna discard so that they're able to ride. So yeah, that's that card. And then a secondary grid one is Evoke Alchemist. He has Kant rear guard. During the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a grade 3 grid or Vanguard of BLANGDMIRE in his card name, it gets 5k, so it's a 13k booster. And then has auto rear guard. When this unit boosts a grade 3 grid or Vanguard of BLANGDMIRE in his card name, it gets plus 2k to the end of that battle. If your bind zone has 4 or more face down cards, you get to counterblast 1. Choose one of your front row rear guards, stand it. And then if your bind zone has 8 or more face down cards, that unit gets plus 15 to the end of turn. So obviously this is your multi-attack enabler for the deck, so you do want to max out on the copies of this card. Next we're going to go over is the grade 2 and 3 support cards. The grade 3 is basically lets you accelerate your bind zone. His effect is auto rear guard. When it attacks a Vanguard, if your bind zone has 4 or more face down cards, you may have it gain 10k into the end of that battle. If you do, at the end of the battle, put this to soul. And then it has auto. When this unit is put into soul, it has auto. It doesn't have to be on rear guard. When it's put to soul by your card's ability, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of BLANGDMIRE in its name, bind this face down, and you get to draw a card. So essentially, any of your tutor soul charge effects, if you do put this card into soul off of those, you basically get to draw a card and accelerate your face down bind zone at the same time. Next we're going to go over is the grade 2. When this unit is placed on rear guard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of BLANGDMIRE in its name, cost counterblast 1, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put any number of cards from among them into soul, and then shuffle the deck. If you put 1 or more cards to soul, you may draw a card. And then it has auto when it attacks. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of BLANGDMIRE in its card name, and this unit's critical is 1 or less, cost Energy Blast 3. This unit gets 5k and plus 1 crit until the end of that battle. So this is very important because it's the end of that battle, which means when you do attack with this, you can attack with this first, give it a crit and 5k, and then when you boost with Evoke Alchemist, you could restand this and then be able to use that secondary ability again, because that ability isn't once per turn. All that ability cares about is whether or not it already has a crit or not. So these are the BLANGDMIRE support cards. Again, I'm just trying to max out on these, kind of put out some feelers for the deck to see like what we need and what we don't need. And the rest is out. The rest is basically right now. I did look at a couple BLANGDMIRE lists, and I kind of like homogenized what they were running for non-engine. So the first of the non-engine that we are running for this deck is 4 copies of the Energy Cycler. I saw every BLANGDMIRE deck have this, and it made sense to me just because the only card that's really using energy in this deck is the support grade 2, and this deck outside of the support grade 2 and the grade 1 doesn't really counterblast. So it just made sense to have this as an auto include. The next of the non-engine support cards, and I'm guessing this is just a way for you to get cards from your drop zone into soul, is we're playing 4 copies of Servant Falkrika. This is the maid. Man, I remember this was like so hard to get, and I had to like hard pull them, and then one of my friends gave me the other one, but that reprint was needed. But you can't get the draw ability because you don't play a grade 4 Vanguard. But you're playing it for the secondary effect that like just basically lets you add cards from your drop zone to soul, and that this notably does trigger your Colossus. So like let's say you have a Colossus in the drop zone, when you do put it to soul with Falkrika, you will draw a card. So just some synergies with what the deck is already doing. Next of the non-engine we're playing order cards. I didn't see every BLANGDMIRE list playing this, but it felt like you had enough space to whereas you could have this as an auto include. I'm playing 1 Bracing Angel Ladder. It just made sense to me. Shiranui is still like the best thing since sliced bread in current standard format. I don't care what anybody else says. I know there's some like fringe Bang Dream deck that can play around it, but not everyone is playing that, and I don't feel like that's a good enough counter in my personal opinion. You're just playing around it, you're not really countering it. This card is just needed. I'm not saying this alone will win you the Shiranui matchup, though this will help you win the Shiranui matchup. This will help you survive a turn that you generally shouldn't have survived. And then another card that I've just heard like so many talks of, and I've seen people play. I saw them playing them at more copies. Right now I'm just trying 2 in the deck. I'm not sure if this is a needed card for the strategy or not. Again, this is like a stock list of the deck, but I'm playing 2 Cage of Furious Star. This is an order card that its effect is Soul Charge 1. Choose a grade 3 or less card from your soul, call it to rear guard, and it gets 5k until the end of turn. So this is the only like pseudo random Soul Charge that we are playing in this deck. Again, I guess this like helps you kind of, because you can very easily turn your soul into a toolbox. So I can see why you play this. I'm not sure if it's something that will stay in the deck or not. Next, moving on to the DPGs, and then 1 Blitz Order PG. Nothing much to say here. Again, still for Shiranui. I saw this more often than not be the blue OT, and that's completely understandable. I do feel like if your standard stock nation OT, if you can't utilize it the best, then more often than not, it's better to go with the blue OT over nothing. It's 100 million crit. I know it adds a card, but you don't play it for that. At least when I was playing it, I never played it for that. I played it because it was 100 million crit. Now this is still good. I want to try the Dark States OT just because I feel like this would be like an easy way to win games because of BLANGDMIRE's guard restrict ability. This would be a very easy way to win games, the Dark States OT. And then moving on to the rest of the triggers, playing 3 effect fronts. I feel like this deck already has enough built-in draw in its main engine and non-engine that you don't need to run draw triggers. And I feel like we're in a format that everything is hitting for really high numbers that you're kind of forced to play fronts, in my personal opinion. 4 effect crits, better to have them than not need them. 4 vanilla crits, and then 4 vanilla heals. You can decide whether or not you want to play the effect heals or not. I'm still not a fan of the effect heals, so that's my main reason for not playing them. I'm still a vanilla heal player, unless like actually like there's a tier 0, because as good as Shiranui is, I don't think Shiranui is tier 0 in my personal opinion. But if there's actually a tier 0 deck that everyone is gonna play no matter what, then I feel like then that's when those effect heals become good. Or if there's like a stock number of decks that they're all doing that same like restand or +1 crit, which I don't think there's enough decks that are doing that right now in my personal opinion to warrant playing those. Again, this is just opinionated when it comes to the triggers. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. It's literally going to be Dark States week this week. I got the Direful Doll deck going to come out, Barrow Magnus, the Alma Justar deck. Like, I'm going to be going to locals with all these decks. You're going to be seeing the POV game footage of those. You're going to see me play test these stock builds. And then eventually I'm going to come back with you with updated lists, or maybe I'll just like put them into my community posts. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, y'all have a great night. Later.